Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on the internet and around the world. It is sunrise on YouTube, morning on Facebook, noon on Twitter, midday on Threads, afternoon on Twitch, sunset on Instagram, and evening on Rumble. I am your host, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. We are broadcasting live directly from the sanctum of solitude and the citadel at the end of time. Sun Tzu says, in the practical art of war, the best thing is to take the enemy's country whole and intact. To shatter and destroy it is not so good. So too, it is better to recapture an entire army than to destroy it. To capture a regiment, a detachment, or a company entire than to destroy them. Hence, to fight and conquer in all your battles is not supreme excellence. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Therefore, the skilled leader subdues the enemy's troops without any fighting. He captures their cities without laying siege to them. He overthrows their kingdom without lengthy operations in the field. With his forces intact, he will dispute the mastery of the empire, and thus, without losing a man, his triumph will be complete. This is the method of attacking by stratagem. Now, a general is the bulwark of the state. If the bulwark is complete at all points, the state will be strong. If the bulwark is defective, the state will be weak. Thus we may know that there are 5 essentials for victory. 1. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. 2. He will win who knows how to handle both superior and inferior forces. 3. He will win whose army is animated by the same spirit throughout all its ranks. 4. He will win who prepared himself, waits to take the enemy unprepared. And 5. He will win who has military capacity and is not interfered with by the sovereign. Hence the saying, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself, but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. Good evening, everyone. I am the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains the master of the deceptive arts, and I return to you once more as the alluring voice of the vasectomites. And today, I want us to dip our toes into an area of life that has proved to be an endless, timeless, and, dare I say, priceless pursuit of the counterpart. And that is the quest for unconquered and unconquering beauty and attractiveness. To be the most beautiful, the prettiest in the land. This is what the counterpart wants more than anything. Not just to be beautiful, but to be viewed as the most beautiful woman alive. Conquering and unconquered beauty and attractiveness. That means when you see her, you are conquered by it. But not only that, you will not find a more beautiful woman than this. This is what the counterpart truly wants. And I use the word priceless in my description of the extent to which the counterpart will go to achieve, to attain, and to sustain their perception of perfect attractiveness, of perfect beauty. But priceless here doesn't imply free, but rather it means that there is no price, there is no limit to the price for which they will not pay, even for the opportunity, even for the idea, even for the promise of maintained beauty. So it's not just about getting better, because that's really what they want. They want better and improved beauty. But if they can't take that, they'll take just maintaining the level of beauty that they have. But what they cannot have, absolutely not, is a situation where their beauty declines or is diminished in any capacity, or is viewed to have been declined or diminished in one capacity or another. One of the videos that I intend on doing is a breakdown of the cost of cosmetics, but there's just, or at least the cost of cosmetics and the cost on the and the breakdown of the entire cosmetic industry. But it's a massive industry, so I have to take it in terms of like two aspects. On the one hand, we have to consider how much is the counterpart spending on cosmetics, beauty, surgeries, all of that. But then on the other hand, we have to look at how much. So we're going to look at them individually, which is one way to take a look at it, and then holistically by looking at like how much these industries are worth, how much they are making. Billions. The cosmetics industry is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. I mean, they break it down when I was looking at it. It's something like 21 billion in the United States, 30 billion in Europe, 50 billion across Asia. Like just astronomical numbers. Hair, makeup, surgeries, face creams, face washes, body creams, body washes, all kinds of things. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year, because these things they finish and then you gotta keep replenishing them, right? So there is really no extent to how far they will go just to maintain the beauty, and you must understand why. Beauty, or the pursuit, the acquisition, the maintenance, the sustenance of beauty, real or perceived, right, is to some people a very valuable commodity. And by some, I mean specifically the knee benders, and especially the young bachelors. Yes, vasectomites, we value beauty too. There is an intrinsic value to it, but it's for completely different reasons. So we'll enjoy the company of a beautiful counterpart, but provided that that company is worth the experience. So if I mean I'm a vasectomite, right? So I know I'm not gonna have no biological connection to this person. So I'm not inclined to tolerate anything, in terms of like bad behavior and that kind of thing, belligerence, rudeness, belittling, embarrassment, disrespect, all the things that you would happily tolerate to be with a beautiful counterpart. I'm gonna forgo all that. I'm gonna forgo all that, right? But for these young bachelors, especially those who think that they're going to be bachelors for life, and those who don't think that they're going to bend the knee, I'm here to tell you, you are going to bend the knee. All of you, 99%. Unless you follow the philosophy of this platform, which is to freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. You can still, listen, you can still have all your biological options. You can freeze your sperm, in which case you've got hundreds of millions of sperm ready to go anytime you want them, and you can be sure that these are all your kids. But simultaneously, you can have the vasectomy reversed. So you can go through the surgery and have the vasectomy reversed and then continue. So you still have all your biological options available, even if you don't freeze your sperm, right? I suggest freezing your sperm though, so you don't have to go through the reversal, right? If you choose to. So otherwise, just get prepared to bend the knee, my friend. Get prepared to bend the knee. And I'm going to demonstrate that you are absolutely going to bend the knee, right? For the knee benders in the dark dimension, those that are already married, and the bachelors who must make the choice to either sacrifice that wife and kids for your own life, right? Or bend the knee. That's your choice. You either sacrifice the wife and the kid, you freeze your sperm, you get a vasectomy, or you get on that ground and you bend that knee. You bend that knee right now, right? But for these men, for these knee benders in the dark dimension and the young bachelors, having an attractive woman, having a beautiful woman that other people also find attractive, not just you, is an indication that they did not choose poorly. It's an indication that they chose well. It's an indication that they have good instincts, good insights, and good taste. It's validation. It provides them with validation. Really, that's the word I was looking for all day long, right? Just as the counterpart craves validation for their attractiveness, the knee bender also craves validation in terms of to say that he's now successful because he's got a beautiful counterpart, right? It is a way of justifying all of the other obvious liabilities associated with having a counterpart. Now, this is where a vasectomite and knee benders will part ways in terms of attractive women, right? For me, being with an attractive woman does not justify paying all her bills. Health bills, medical bills, food, clothes, housing, transportation, vacations, all of that. No. Her beauty doesn't justify that. It doesn't justify being put on child support. It doesn't justify presiding over a broken family. It doesn't justify paying alimony, paying for a bond in a house that I no longer live in while she's living in that house with another man, spending my alimony, living up in my bond, driving the car that I'm still paying for, right? All the while, I'm waiting for the lawyers to divide my assets and the courts to divide my assets. And then I still have to pay those lawyers for doing that, for undoing decades of work that I put my entire life into, right? For a vasectomy, this is why I said it's completely different. For a vasectomy going through that, there's no way, no way. I don't care how beautiful you are. No way, no way, no way. After I get my vasectomy, now I'm gonna put myself in a situation to be in the dark dimension just because you're pretty. No way, man. That don't make no sense. But if you're a knee bender, right? That might be a completely different calculation. You might have to make a completely different calculation. That's why I say freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy, and then start thinking. And you're going to find that 99% of the things that matter to these knee benders, they mean absolutely nothing to you. And beauty is one of those things. It's a situation of this, and this is why I was saying, like, it's a question of the experience, the beauty versus the experience. So it's one thing to have a beautiful woman, but now she's putting you in court, she's making you pay bills, destroying your name, calling you a deadbeat, calling you at work, interrupting your work by sending you to court every 3 weeks, right? So, just the whole thing, man, the whole thing of the dark dimension. All because you have a pretty smile. No way. No way. But for knee benders, it's justifiable. It's not only justifiable, it's valid. It's a form of validation. It's a victory. Beauty happens to be, in my opinion, one of the only valuable and almost tangible advantages that you can derive from having an attractive counterpart. The only thing you can do is look at her. That's the only advantage that you get from having a beautiful counterpart, is that you get to look at her and everybody else gets to look at her. Which says to me that all you want is attention. You just want to be seen. You just want validation. Because you were invalidated. You were told, oh, not having a counterpart is invaluable to you. You are invaluable. You are invalidated because you don't have a counterpart. And you think by having the counterpart, you are now validated and you are now valuable. And of course, all you've done is convert yourself from a liberated, free, self-determining entity into, quite frankly, a tool, right? A simple tool. All you do is you do one thing and one thing only. You pay bills. And then as soon as you decide, okay, I don't want to pay bills anymore, as soon as you say, well, I don't want to pay these bills anymore, I want a divorce, then guess what they do? All they do is give you a list of bills. Alimony, that's a bill. Child support, that's a bill. Bond, car payments, you know very well those are bills. School tuition, you're still going to pay for that. So you thinking, well, I don't want to pay bills anymore. And then that's when they hit you with all the bills at the same time. Man, you guys just really don't get it. And for you, this is winning. For you, this is winning. For me, no way. There's just there is nothing that will justify this. Me paying a bond so my ex-wife can live in my house, that every morning I wake up, tomorrow's Monday, Tuesday, whatever, you wake up tomorrow, 5 o'clock in the morning, you go and you work, and they take a chunk of that pay, 8 hours, 10 hours, extra time, overtime, every time, blood, sweat, tears, in the traffic, repeat, right? Just killing yourself, meeting after meeting. Like me, sometimes you can be 6 hours on your feet day after day. All the while, your ex-wife is living in your house. She kicked you out and she's living in there with another man. She's living in your house with another man. Listen to me, she is living in your house that you're paying for with another man. And that man can do whatever he wants. He's walking around the house naked. As soon as the kids go to school, that guy walks around naked in a robe, a Japanese robe that hasn't been washed in weeks. This is what you're putting yourself through. This is the type of disrespect that you put yourself through. When you bend that knee, this is what you are allowing of yourself. And I think you deserve it. I think you deserve it. Because all you wanted to do was to have a beautiful counterpart that you can look at that offers no tangible advantages. You couldn't list 5 advantages. Listen, let me put it to you like this. Name 5 things that you get, that you have received from your spouse, that you can take to a pawn shop right now and they will give you real money for it. 5 things. I'll give you one. Maybe you got a watch. But she probably bought that watch with your money, right? So let's say things that she bought with her own money that she worked for. I bet you can't even list 5 things. I bet you cannot list 5 things. And those 5 things are really 5 things that she bought for you, that you acted like you liked, that you actually don't really care for. Like a counterpart once bought me a PlayStation. I sold that thing the first second that I had a chance to get rid of it. It was the first thing I got rid of. Do I sound like a PlayStation person? Do you really think I'm gonna sit? Listen, I'm not against playing video games and entertaining yourself in that way, but we're not all video game kind of guys. We're not all video game kind of guys. And then she goes and buys me a PlayStation. To me, in that moment, I thought, okay, she's just probably buying it because she's thinking of another man, right? But this is the point that you must take from these knee benders, right? The validation that they receive from having an attractive counterpart, despite all of the liabilities that I've just mentioned, it's as if to say, right, that they're saying that I'm successful. I'm a knee bender now. I'm successful because I, Bob the Bender, right? I have an attractive counterpart, which other men, rich men, he imagines that there are rich men, billionaires, they wanted her, famous men, they wanted her, powerful men, they wanted her, right? There are ancient men who wanted her, and also modern men who wanted her. Now now he believes that she rejected all of these men, right? She rejected the exotic islands, the private jets, the wisdom, the opportunity, the knowledge, the experience, the gourmet food, the plush hotels, the luxury suites, right? The beachfront resorts, the jet skis, the catamarans, the islands after the islands, the clear blue waters, the warm summer rain, the dinners at sunset, right? The live bands. He thinks that she forgoes all of that to be here with him in his room with the single bed, because of love, right? And not because she's not attractive enough or doesn't have, or just simply doesn't have those options. He really believes that. He believes that this is how he receives the validation. He believes that she had all of those opportunities, rejected them, and chose rather to be with him, rather than facing the reality that, you know what, my friend, you're not even like a bronze medal, you know, you're not even like a bronze medal, man. The level is international, man. The level is international. So if you're not competing like that, are you really competing? Now, let's say you do get this counterpart, right, who rejected all these men. Now you have to pay her bills. You have to raise those kids, 18 to 21 years, right? You got to nurture that relationship, all the while working a full time, extra time, overtime, every time. All the while trying to run a business on the side, all the while trying to build a public personality through your platform, and your channel and all that. All the while also trying to stop all these other men, right? The famous men, the rich men, the powerful men, the ancient men, the modern men, the strong men, the fit men, the runners, the weightlifters, the guys with the testosterone, right? The guys with the steroids. all those men coming after your counterpart. You have to try and prevent all of that from happening, right? And you must understand that with these men, they don't have the stresses that you have: paying bills, child support, alimony, all of that, right? So they aren't stressed, they aren't frustrated, they aren't broke. In fact, it's quite the opposite. They're healthy, they're fit, they're strong, they're killing it in the gym, they're killing it in their careers, you know, and also your woman finds them attractive. So it's just one thing that they find her attractive. But because you're always stressed, you're always frustrated, you're always talking about why she's spending so much money, why is she doing this, why she always want to go out, why can't we just stay home? What's wrong with just staying here, right? She wants to go out and live that life, and you're saying just stay here and look at these four walls again and again and again and again. And while that's cool and all, in terms of a defensive strategy, eventually she's gonna be attracted to something outside of those four walls. But for how long do you think you can sustain, these defensive tactics against an onslaught of attacks and advances from other men? Men with time, men with resources, men with skills, men with abilities, men with rooms to maneuver and tricks to offer and insights and points of views that you could not compete with, that you have no familiarity with. For the counterpart who really can't accomplish anything by herself, you must understand that being attractive is more than just an investment. It is a necessary survival tool and a strategy, perhaps the most necessary. Think of it like animals in nature who camouflage themselves as survival, right? Who change their colors to fit in with the nature and the surroundings. How, for instance, the African lion is beige and brown like the African grass in the autumn and in the winter, you know, and how tigers seem to be able to disappear in the forest and in the jungles of Asia and so forth, because they have adapted to not only survive and thrive in their environment. And so too has the counterpart. And one of the things that they've adapted as a survival strategy is to be very, very attractive to men, right? Because it's either this or nothing else. You see, if you can't work in this world, you can't strategize, you can't be logical, you can't calculate, you can't foresee outcomes, you can't anticipate the moves of your enemies and the moves of dangerous creatures. You can't execute, you can't attack, you can't defend, you can't defend yourself, you can't defend others, right? Then you need someone else to do all of that for you. It's just very simple. You just need someone to do all that for you, all the things that you cannot do for yourself. And there are two types of men that are obligated to perform this task: the task of providing and protecting for a counterpart. These are not the bachelors. These are not the vasectomites, the boyfriends like this, no. These are, I say, obligated by law. These are the husbands and the fathers. You see, when you meet a counterpart the first time, usually she's looking pretty well kept by all accounts. Some might even be in the state of what they call their prime. They'll be looking good, they'll be clean, smelling clean, being clean, they'll be acting right, they won't be acting a fool, they won't be shouting, screaming, dancing in vulgar ways. You might believe wrongly that this counterpart has achieved this state of perceived maturity, not just physically, spiritually, mentally, by herself, especially if she's you know, dressed in a particular way, like expensive clothes, clean clothes, clothes that are attractive but not provocative, you know. And especially if she's got like modern devices, a nice clean car, who's eating decent, healthy food, but good food, like gourmet food, that kind of thing. You might be inclined to think that this is all of her doing and this is an indication of her taste and her capacity as either a young woman or in a womanhood. But this is not true. All of those things that you see, that you like, that you find attractive and appealing and enticing about her, those things cost money. Hair, face, nose, eyes, lips, jewelry, clothes, the unders, right? The shoes, the watch, the mobile phone, the car. All of that costs money. Nothing on her, nothing on her body is free. Not even the hair, not even the lips, nothing on her body is free. And in reality, she herself, she could not pay for all those things. All right. And a man has to do that. A knee bender has to pay for all that, right? For every single item on her. Every single item that she wears is paid for by a knee bender. When she's young, that knee bender is her father. But when she's older, the ideal plan is that it would be her husband because he can sustain this, right? A boyfriend, as soon as like the experience starts to get bad or the expenses start to get high, a boyfriend is out of there. Trust me, I've been a boyfriend and I've been in and I have been out of many expensive situations. I'm just like, no, I'm not paying for this, right? And so the fathers must pay, right? And so the fathers must pay, or the husbands must pay, because you can't have your wife not dressed, you can't have your wife not clean, you can't have your wife not kept, you can't have her not having any of the markings or indications of attractiveness, right? And billions upon billions of dollars are spent every year making counterparts attractive. But more than that, it's not just about making them attractive. It's really about hiding their flaws and curtailing their imperfections, so that you cannot be aware of how many flaws and how many imperfections they have, and how much those flaws and imperfections cost. Um, and all of this to get a man to pay the cost of that beauty, that fleeting beauty, by the way. That beauty is gonna last until two events. Either she gets old or she has a baby. Right? Either she gets old or you get her pregnant. For that year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, during and after the baby, man, there's you can forget about it. You can forget about all that, right? This is why they say that beauty is fleeting. It can go anytime. Anytime you wake up in the morning, it's like, if you look at that Cinderella story, that fairy tale, Cinderella's beauty only lasted until midnight, right? Which is an indication of how fleeting that beauty is. Like, it could be gone in hours, days, weeks, months, or a few years, or based on one incident. And this is something that I think a lot of young men don't know, because all throughout your existence, your very short existence, this person has just been attractive. In your imagination, you believe they'll be attractive forever. And that's not true. they could wake up tomorrow and it's all over. And of course, the ancient ones been around enough to see that happen many, many times. Many, many, many times. But then there is the system. The entire human economic and legal system is built around obligating a knee bender to sustain the life of a counterpart and her fledglings. And it starts with your most fundamental instinct, which is the instinct to be intimate. Now, I've mentioned before that being intimate is not a desire, it's an instinct. It's something that you're going to want to do, even if you don't want to do it. It's like breathing. It's really something that I would compare to breathing. There are like, you ever try to hold your breath, and you can only hold your breath for so long before you have to exhale. And as soon as you exhale, the inhale is involuntary, right? So you really can't help breathing. You don't even know you're doing it. And you are breathing millions of times throughout the day, millions of times, just nothing, just huffing and puffing air all day long. It sustains you. You don't even know you're doing it. It's an instinct, as is intimacy. The thing with intimacy is that it's an instinct that you are aware of. So it gives you the inclination that you are a participant in this instinct, but you are not. You are not. And the statistics indicate that. They indicate that you have no choice but to be intimate and thereby get somebody inseminated and pregnant. You really cannot undo that instinct or that desire. And to be aware of this is actually very empowering, because then you'll know what to do. And the thing to do is to freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. Is to freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy, right? And since this impulse, this instinct of being intimate is all encompassing, and it is all conquering, and it even overcomes logic and experience and fear. Intimacy is so, the desire for intimacy is so powerful that it overcomes, like there are people who have intimacy with their best friend's wife, overcoming loyalty, respect, fear, consequences, shame. Like there are people who are addicted to illicit and illegal substances, who don't want people, who don't want their colleagues to know, who don't want their families to know, and they can hide it for years. But when it comes to intimacy, self-control is always very limited. It's always very limited. Dare I say, there is no such thing as self-control when it comes to intimacy. There's only the opportunity to be intimate. So you either have the opportunity and you take it, or you have the opportunity and you miss it, and then you wait for the other opportunity. But there's really no part where intimacy is never at play. It is always at play, and so are the consequences, which is what makes this very, very interesting, this dynamic that we are in. You know the consequences, you know the rules, you know the game, you know what's going to happen, you know everything. You know if you are intimate, you're going to get her pregnant. If not this time, then the next time. If not that time, then the time after that. If not that, every time you try, you get a chance of getting it right. Every time you try, there's a chance that you get it right. And still you can't help yourself. When I realized this about myself, when I knew what the consequences are and I still saw my body acting outside of logic, outside of my experience, outside of knowing what that this is going to be a disastrous outcome, I knew that the challenge itself was not the world in its entirety. It was also within myself. I had to overcome. If I could not overcome the instinct, I had to overcome the consequences. But I could not have both the instincts and the consequences. That is just that is a complete disaster, man. It's a complete disaster. You can't stop yourself from walking into the dark dimension. I was like, this is an unacceptable set of options for me. There is a point where I have to be able to say, okay, now we're entering into the romance wars or we are entering into the dark dimension. Either way, I want out. Right? I'm not getting into a relationship or the romance wars, and I'm definitely not getting married and going through the dark dimension. Absolutely not. But then there your body is moving autonomously. You're like a walking zombie. You can't stop yourself. You're just a breeder. You're just a breeder. You just want to breed. No, man. And eventually you're gonna get somebody pregnant. You know, and you believe that your best move is rather than freezing your sperm and getting a vasectomy, is rather to go get a attractive counterpart. So you say, well, I could just get any counterpart and get them inseminated and pregnant, but the best move, the winning move, is for me to get a attractive one, a beautiful girl. No, no, that's a terrible idea. That's an absolutely terrible idea. Freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. Pretty girls? No, man, you don't want a pretty girl. I mean, yes, you want a pretty girl. Everybody wants a pretty girl, obviously. But you don't want to be tied for the rest of your life to a pretty girl or a girl that's not pretty or any girl for that matter. It's gonna ruin your life, man. You're gonna alimony, child support, division of assets, lawyer fees, homelessness. This is worth beauty? Give me a break. Give me a break, man. No woman is worth any of that. In my opinion, no way. No way. Keep the end in mind. Keep the end in mind, right? Because if you think that getting a young, beautiful, radiant, luscious counterpart pregnant instead of one that lacks the conventional markings of attractiveness, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. The winning move is not to play the game. It doesn't matter. They don't write different laws for beautiful counterparts and ones that don't have the traditional markings of attractiveness. They don't do that. They make one rule, one law, one consequence for all. And that rule is to go into the dark dimension and to bend the knee. Hot girl, young girl, old girl, divorced girl, not divorced, single mother, stepmother, baby mama, whatever you dice it, however you mix that salad, in the end, it's all the same. Somebody's got to bend that knee. Somebody's got to bend that knee and pay the bill. It's not going to be me. It's definitely not going to be me. I will not bend the knee. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right. And the reason I say you're wrong, and I know you might think, well, Ancient One, you're judging us harshly and so forth. Of course I am. Of course I am not your father. I'm nobody's father. I'm not gonna feel sorry for none of you. Listen to me. I will still feel sorry for the kids. And only until they turn 18. Then they gotta bend that knee too. So even then, the kids, I only feel sorry for them because they're your kids. But otherwise, they got to bend that knee. They got to go ahead and bend that knee, right? And I'm going to explain to you why you're wrong. And I keep using the same example, right? I'll go back to your school days. Something very simple, everybody can understand. You get given a simple question, something that your teacher taught you before, right? They taught it to you once. They explained to you the dynamic. Then they gave you examples. You practiced it in class. Then you went home and you studied it. Then the teacher told you, hey, there's a test on that thing that we talked about the other day that you went home and studied and I explained it and I showed you. And then the teacher revised it. Then you went home and studied it for the test. Then the teacher came back and asked you that very same question that he's been talking to you about for days and days and weeks and months. But this time, because he knows that you are utterly incompetent, he gives you choices. He gives you the question. He explains the question. Then he gives you three possible choices. Of those three possible choices, one of those choices is obviously wrong. So you remove the one that's obviously wrong. And what do you have? You have effectively you have the perfect advantage. You have all the advantages, all the information, and you are being put in a situation where you are given all that information again and you are given only two choices. One of those choices is the obvious right answer, and the other one is the obvious wrong answer. Now, let's look at the volume of information. You've been given 99% of the correct information, and only one tiny smudge of it is incorrect. One piece of it is incorrect. And what do? You get it wrong anyway. You get it wrong anyway. And then here you are thinking that you're going to meet a beautiful counterpart who's going to do all those things for you and you're going to get the relationship dynamic right. After you've been given all the information, let me repeat it here: divorce, alimony, child support, lawyer fees, division of asset, threat of imprisonment. They're going to suspend your passport. They're going to suspend your driver's license. They're going to suspend your practice license, your fishing license, your gun license. All your licenses suspended. They're going to ruin your life. And what do? You bend the knee. You get it wrong. You get it wrong. You get all the information and you're told this is the consequences of it. You're not going to get no love. You're not going to get any intimacy. You're not going to get no advantages. Everybody's been telling you this for years. And here's the choice. You can freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. This is your one option. So we know that money, muscles, mental health, all of that is wrong. Here's the option. You freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy, or you bend the knee. And you're still going to get it wrong. You're still going to get it wrong. Every day I'm telling you, freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy. And what do? You still get it wrong. You're still getting it wrong. So don't go now believing that getting a beautiful woman is the right choice for you. Come on, man. You're obviously getting it wrong again. You're obviously choosing the wrong thing again. Freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy. Come on. Your best move is to freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. And that way you can enjoy whatever beauty you choose and indulge in that beauty without any of the consequences faced by the knee benders in these romance wars and in the dark dimension. Freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy. So let's find out together now what exactly attracts a guy to a girl. We're going to look at 13 irresistible features, right, to a girl physically. Now, this is, well, they say physically, but I think there's a part where they sort of move on to characteristics, personality traits, that kind of thing. But this is only later in the article. The first thing that I'll tell you, ladies, if there's ever going to be a lady to watch this content, the first thing that you can do physically is to lose weight. Now I know there's some people that are going to tell you, well, it's tough, blah, 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 blah. And they won't offer you any solutions. But I, the Bachelor Supreme, the Ancient One, the Master of the Deceptive Arts, can give you one piece of information that you can trust. What you need to do is have a regimen of light jogging. Not too fast, but faster than a slow walk. But you need to be mimicking the actions of running, and you need to be able to do that in your home, either by running in one spot for 30 minutes or round and around in circles over a small area. But you need to mimic the actions of running. Now, the reason you don't want to do this outside is because you don't want to embarrass yourself, right? You don't want to be overweight running outside. You look awkward. I see a lot of overweight people riding around outside, and I think to myself, you know what? There is an exercise that you can do. It's called spot running, and I vouch for it, and I use it every day. I don't go running outside. I'm not really an outside kind of person unless I'm riding really awesome vehicles, but not just to stand and run in the nature. Been there, done that. It's overrated. But ladies, you want to look attractive, just lose the weight, man. Just lose weight at any age. At any age. You're always gonna be your best self when you're lighter. You have to be obsessed with this. Really, you have to be. If you're gonna be obsessed with attractiveness as a woman, one of the things you have to be obsessed with is the weight, right? I myself, I've had my struggles with weight and I'm obsessed with it. And that's how I know. That's how I know the success with weight is to be obsessed with a good body. Man, you have to be obsessed. By the way, I have already run my 10 kilometers for the day, right? Have you? Right? Or what we call 5 kilometers, but it's actually 10 kilometers. If you run your 10 kilometers for the day, if not, you better get to it. The article is written by Calantha Quinlan, a very uncommon name, Calantha Quinlan. I hope I'm not mispronouncing it. This was published on the 6th of January 2025, so not too long ago. It comes from marriage.com. That's marriage.com, www.marriage.com. Here's a link to the article as well as to the website should you like to read it for yourself, but we will do that today together right now. It says, when trying to figure out what attracts a guy to a girl physically, you must understand that there are many of those factors. This is true. A combination of warmth, radiance, and individual charm can often draw attention and admiration. Physical attractiveness encompasses a wide range of features that can captivate a man's interest. If you are currently asking, what physical features do guys find attractive? Here's a list of the top 13 of them. That is so egotistical to say you have the top 13 of them, right? But sure, right? I agree with everything. There's a lot that comes into physical attractiveness. So, ladies, if you want to be considered physically attractive, the first thing you are going to need is a radiant smile. Not a good smile, not a happy smile, but a radiant smile. A warm and genuine smile can transform you from beautiful to drop dead gorgeous in a matter of seconds. When used right, a smile reflects confidence and positivity, instantly drawing people towards you. Taking care of your oral hygiene and wearing a smile that comes from within can leave a lasting impression on others. Then again, studies have shown that a genuine smile improves attractiveness and makes you look more inviting. So, as you make your daily rounds today, don't forget that a genuine smile can be what attracts a guy to a girl physically. That is so well written. Like, Calantha Quinlan, you are a gifted writer. Reading that just flowed right off my tongue. That just flowed right off my tongue. I didn't even want to interrupt it. Very, very talented piece of work. But yes, indeed, oral hygiene, guys, go see your dentist. If you have if you lost a tooth, especially like in the front. Like if you lose a tooth at the back and it doesn't affect your smile or nothing like that, that's cool. But if you lost a tooth in the front, especially ladies are very serious about their dental health. That's one thing for sure. They really want to keep their teeth right. So it's one thing that a woman with bad teeth, like especially women with like gold teeth, that's a big no-no. No. Gold teeth, platinum fangs, whatever you call those things. That's a no-no. Yeah, but a smile will do it, man. I mean, if you got a good body already, right? If you're already fit, if you already took the ancient one's advice and you've been jogging, light jogging, not too much, just to burn the calories. Burn those calories off. Do some light jogging, ladies. And then you add a smile on that and you got some nice, decent teeth. Sure, I can see how that could be physically attractive. Sure, sure. But the body works. Sometimes it's a situation of, you get a butterface. You get a butterface and she's got a really nice body and you're like, the body really works. Sometimes you get a girl with a really pretty face, but she's overweight and you're like, man, I can't do that. I'm really one of those people. Like, if the choice, listen, if the choice is a beautiful girl with a banging body, right? I'm going for the nine. I'm going for the nine, right? But if it's like a solid six, with a pretty face, but the body's, all the way out there. Or a six, like a nine of a body, but maybe, subpar with the butterface situation. I may be inclined to go with the butterface over a vegan. I'm not operating heavy machinery. I'm not going to be killing myself running 10 kilometers every day just so I can look like a number 10 on the street. No, 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 no. Some guys will do that. Some guys will do that. But I'm going first for the body, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you have to have the whole thing, but body is absolutely important. Body is absolutely important for a counterpart at any age. Sparkling eyes, wow, wow. They say it's all in the eyes. I say no. I say look at her mouth, it'll tell you everything. Her eyes are going to tell you nothing, right? But sparkling eyes, some guys like that kind of thing. Consider this an extension of the previous point. The eyes are often considered windows to the soul. Now she's benderizing. Expressive, sparkling eyes can create an air of warmth, excitement, and passion that draws just anyone into your personal space. Make a mental note to maintain good eye contact and let your eyes reflect your emotions and intentions. Oh, she's benderizing. Oh, she's benderizing. This makes you even more irresistible every time you interact with people. Oh, so much benderism. I could throw up. My God, I don't know what the big deal is with the eyes. I know that you don't want to have like creepy eyes or anything like that, but I really don't see how people can see your soul through your eyes. Some people believe that they can, they imagine this stuff. But man, benders, they love this stuff. Oh, they love all this. And I know the counterpart loves this too. She likes to think that, okay, if I'm not losing any weight, at least my eyes are sparkling and my smile is radiant. But no, 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 no. That's a problem. That's a problem. Yes, you want nice eyes. I'm sure you do. We all want to be known for having nice eyes. You don't want eyes like mine that are all the way on the side of your head and then you squint and you need glasses. Two different, strengths because the one eye sees better than the other eye. So now you got two different thicknesses and lengths and widths of glasses on your face, on a face that already needs a lot of help. So, maybe you may enjoy the benefits of sparkling eyes, but I don't know if I'm in that bracket of people. So for me, sure, I'd like to see some sparkling eyes, but you're not gonna get no sparkling eyes from me. So the next thing you want to maintain, ladies, is a healthy head of hair. Now, I had a counterpart who was absolutely obsessed with hair, and I'm going to tell you nothing is more boring than having discussions about your hair. Now, if it looks good, it looks good, but if it doesn't, it can be a problem, but a really serious problem. But I'm going to tell you right now, men don't really care. Just take care of it, right? Just take care of it. Like, yeah, just take care of it. I mean, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? There's nothing we can do about your hair. But if it's not right, oh, it's a problem. Man, you don't want to come out here bold or your hair not right. For men, we could come out bold. Yeah, sure, it's not a problem. But for you counterparts, man, you're gonna need to have a go-to hairstyle that you can maintain that lets you go out in emergencies because that hair is out of place, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. It affects things. Okay, it does affect things. Healthy hair, yeah, you're gonna need that. Who doesn't love a lady with luscious, well taken care of hair? No one. That's true. Well maintained hair, whether long, short, or styled uniquely, is universally appealing. It screams class and attention to detail. I suppose. I mean, just don't be a mess. Nourish your hair with proper care, use quality hair products, and embrace hairstylists that accentuate your natural beauty. Ladies, you want to accentuate that natural beauty. Also, beyond the attractiveness it adds, personal hygiene positively impacts your health. The way you take care of your hair is a reflection of your personal hygiene. Yeah, I know ladies spend a lot of time taking care of that how the health of their hair. So yes, it is an indication of an investment in yourself. But one thing that I wanted to mention about the counterpart who was obsessed with hair was just the tremendous number of products that this individual would try and go through. Just a huge expense. Now, of course, I wasn't the one paying for these things, but I was the one observing. I was there. Now, I don't pay bills for people. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I pay for experiences, dates, and I'll pay for that, sure, because I'm experiencing that too. But I'm not paying your bills. I don't care what a real man does. Right? I really don't care. Right? I got a vasectomy, so you think I'm about to care now? You're out of your mind. But there are lots of products that go into hair care, washing, maintaining, conditioning, all kinds of things. Face, there's a whole range of face things, there's a whole range of hair, there's a whole range of body. Each individual body part has a whole range of items that these people need. And it is expensive, let me tell you. It is so expensive. I did the numbers and I was like, You go bankrupt entertaining these people's proclivities and hobbies, man. You go bankrupt over nothing. And most of them she had to throw away anyway because they just went bad. But another thing that men love is feminine curves. This is completely misunderstood, I believe. I think that a lot of overweight counterparts will call themselves curvy, right? You've never heard a counterpart call themselves obese, right? So they'll use all kinds of euphemisms to not admit that they are in fact obese in terms of body mass index. It says physical features, including natural body shapes, can play a role in attraction, though preferences vary widely among individuals. This is also very true. So I'm not one for the so-called curves, right? I'm not one for the heavy machinery, right? I'm not doing any of that. You really like we really need to have scales in our houses. Men really need to have a scale in the house, not just to weigh yourself, but to weigh the people that come into your life, right? And you really need to be serious about that BMI, man. You know, Embracing and celebrating your natural shape can exude confidence and sensuality. Wear clothes that flatter your body type and make you feel comfortable and confident. So I don't know about all that. Like some of the things that you people wear, like leggings. Oh, leggings are terrible. I hate leggings. Leggings have given obese people the confidence to be obese. Like, no, man, you don't look good. You don't look good, right? So, I mean, if you are in great shape and you are curvy, that's fantastic. But if you're in terrible shape and you're just hoping to go by on just curviness, I mean, we're talking about attractiveness here, and that's not gonna be it. That's not gonna do it. Curviness I'm throwing that one out the window. Graceful posture. Again, like what we're talking about here is we're talking about the body. We're talking about the body. Now we've got the eyes, the smile, we've got the hair, which means you need a beautiful face. Now we're moving to the body and they're talking about curves. In other words, you need to lose weight, right? You really need to lose weight. Graceful posture, you're not going to have a graceful posture if you are obese. So, yeah, you need to lose more weight. Just be obsessed with losing weight, man. Just let everyone know that you are obsessed with losing weight and include running in your regimen. Let go of the weights, ladies. The weights aren't going to do anything for you. You don't need that strength. What you need is you need to burn calories all throughout your body at once, which means you need to start running. Don't run hard, don't speed, especially don't sprint. The faster you run, the worse it is because you're going to run out of energy before you burn calories. So you need a very slow, sustainable trot, a nice cadence that you can sustain 30, 35, 45 minutes at a time without like losing your breath. So you shouldn't be like having to catch your breath. No, 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 no. Should be keeping that heart rate low. Don't worry about speed. Don't worry about power. You just want to burn calories. Just get that weight off. That's what you really want to do. Carrying oneself with grace can project confidence and resilience, making a lasting impression on others. Beyond exuding confidence, a graceful posture makes you a black hole, attracting people to you. Maintaining an upright, poised posture, yeah, that almost caught me, can significantly, I beg your pardon, enhance your overall appearance. It portrays elegance and self-assuredness. Practice good posture to showcase your confidence and make a strong impression. Just lose weight. Just lose a lot of weight. Ladies, I'm giving you really, really the key to attractiveness. The key to attractiveness is to be obsessed with weight loss and keep that weight loss down. And then you need a system to do it. A system that involves physical activity that doesn't exhaust you. And I have sought all kinds of physical activities to do this. The best thing you can do is run and jog. Jog very slowly on one spot for 30 minutes, and that's it. 32 to 45 minutes, that's it. Now me, I'm obsessed. I'm doing an hour. I'm doing 10 kilometers, but I'll tell you I'm doing 5 because I'm obsessed. But man, you're not going to pull this off and be obese at the same time. There's no way in the world where they're like, oh, obese women are attractive, right? And where they do that, it's always a scandal. Number 6 is flawless skin. Sure, okay. Clear and healthy skin is undeniably attractive. Yes, good skin is a good idea. Regular skincare routines, there you go with the skincare routines. And a healthy lifestyle can contribute to a radiant complexion. Some medically approved ways to take care of your skin includes cleansing, moisturizing, and protecting it from harmful UV rays. You're going to spend a lot of money on skincare products. Skincare and makeup. So skincare is one area, makeup is another area. I mean, this is why it costs so much, right? So in the one they gotta spend a lot of money to keep that skin clear, and then on the other they gotta spend a lot of money to make that skin look good. It's gonna be very, very expensive maintaining a beautiful counterpart. And I'm absolutely going to want to do a breakdown on that, on the cost of cosmetics and the industry overall. I mean, that should be fascinating to find out what those statistics are. But yeah, I mean, who doesn't like good skin? But then again, it's really a question of this. You have to ask yourself. So if you got a woman with all these features, a great body, a beautiful face, wonderful hair, great posture, flawless skin, and so forth. And then she's also got number 7, a great stylish, fashionable sense that isn't too provocative, and that kind of thing. If you get this person, how much is it gonna cost to sustain all that? Just the haircuts alone, the nails alone, the jewelry, the makeup, the face wash, the I don't know what, the hair products. I mean, just all that, all that. These people can get a haircut for like $500. You ever heard of that? A haircut for like $500 when a man is getting a haircut for like $15. You wonder why barbers are struggling and hair salons are like, they look like shopping malls on the inside, some of these hair salons. And barbers, I mean, a barber hasn't changed his job since the original barbers. A barber shop hasn't changed style. It's exactly the same science. And some of them, they still use the same tools, right? Because nothing has changed. But as for hair salons, man, these places are extravagant because you're paying $500 a haircut, and then you're taking products home with you. So it's like a whole shopping mall experience in there. And I mean, somebody's got to pay for that, and it's not going to be the counterpart. Imagine having to pay $500 every time you get your hair cut. Every time you get your hair cut is $500, and that hairstyle is going to last 3 days maximum before she has to put it back in a bun. And it's like, oh, $500, we could have really used that money. But she needs that haircut, man. She needs that haircut. It's either she gets that haircut or she starts to, age like, I don't know what, man, a banshee or something. You know what I mean? Starts to get hair in all the wrong places, and the nose and the stash. You don't want that. You don't want that. So yeah, you gotta pay. Man, you knee benders are gonna pay. For beauty, you want a beautiful woman? Then you're gonna have to get her in those stylish clothes. So now you got her hair done, you got her teeth fixed, you got her eyes sparkling. Now she's wearing contacts instead of glasses, right? You got her everything fixed. You got her curves. She's fit. She's got a posture. She's got a skincare routine. But she still doesn't have no clothes on. So now you gotta get her the designer clothes. And it says here, number 7, stylish fashion sense. You most likely know that women who, let me do this again. You most likely know that woman, okay, so I didn't read it wrong, who attracts all the attention when she steps into a room because of a classy fashion sense. Imagine that woman as you, dressing well and embracing your unique style showcases your personality. Confidence in your fashion choices can make you stand out from the crowd. Experiment with different styles that make you feel good and hold up your head while wearing it. I don't even know what to say about all this, but I do. But I do. I suppose, ladies, if you have a good body, then clothes are gonna look good on you. And almost any style can work, whatever. But if you don't have a healthy body, then the clothes aren't gonna look good. The best fashion statement you can make is a healthy body, right? So I mean, the other thing that she says here is that you're gonna stand out from the crowd. I'm here to tell you that, ladies, most men can't tell the difference. All we know is that there are clothes that cover your body and clothes that don't. But for the most part, we really can't tell. We can't even tell what the fabric is just by looking at it. We really can't tell. Like, when men look at women's fashion, what we see is just a black wall of nothing. It means nothing to us except for how much it costs. Like, you'll see a guy look at a garment that belongs to a woman, and the only thing he has to comment about is how much it costs. Because that's all. That's all we see. We just see the price tag. Nothing else. I cannot even tell you my favorite item of clothing that a woman wears just by closing my eyes and thinking about it. I'd have to see like 3 women dressed in 3 different outfits, and then I could tell you A, B, or C. But even then, I'm probably gonna get it wrong. So, when it comes to fashion, man, if you're thinking that dressing well is gonna make you stand out in front of men, it's really not. What is gonna make you stand out in front of men is, are you skimpily dressed? So if a man wants a woman who's dressed skimpy, then he'll be attracted to that. Or are you fully covered? So if a man wants a woman who's fully covered, he'll be attracted to that. Or are you partially covered? So if a man wants something, of that nature, he'll go for that. But it really depends on what the guy is looking for in the day. And there may be the same guy might want a woman dressed completely different tomorrow and the next day and so forth. So really, there's the fashion. I don't know if this has helped anything. And let me tell you something more honest. Like, it doesn't matter how fashionable you are. If you are still overweight, it just looks even weirder. Just look like a clown, man. Just look like you're wearing a costume, trying to be something that you're not. So work on the weight first and then try the fashion. So the next thing, ladies, you might want to have with you is a sultry voice. I suppose men like a nice voice. I know I don't like a deep voice on a woman. I don't think that's very endearing. I also don't like, there's certain accents that are just a turn off, like on a woman. And I'll tell you one. It's that New York accent. Oh, there's nothing more atrocious on a woman than a New York accent, and then she uses slang and calls you son. Nothing is such a bigger turnoff. Like, you'll see a beautiful woman, right? And then she'll start telling you she's from the block. Like, no, 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 no. I cannot stand that New York accent. Do you know who has that New York accent? That woman who had the talk show WW. I'm not gonna say her name, but you know who I'm talking about. WW, right? She used to say yes all the time. Yes. You know, like, no, it's not yes, it's yes. Like, yes as in I, agree, or in the affirmative, right? Yeah. And it's things like that, right? That's that New York accent. She'll be like, yes, instead of yes, right? So, oh, I can't stand that New York accent. Oh, she'll tell you she's from Brooklyn or whatever the nonsense, whatever that means. No one cares. Talk properly, man. Oh, New York women. Oh, New York women, man. That accent does nothing for you, man. Like, and then they sound like smokers. You have that voice of a smoker. It's not like a deep man's voice, like a man whose voice is broken, right? And now his manly voice is coming through. No, you sound like your voice has been burned by charred ash. Like, oh, it's terrible, man. And then you call people son and you say yes. Yeah, no, talk properly. New York, New York, New York. You have everything going for you. Beautiful women, wonderful scenery, great food, great music, great entertainment, everything. But your women, they are not talking properly. You know what? When we need an intervention. We need an intervention on New York women and the way they talk. Like, say the same words, but say them differently. Can't you just say them differently? Like, just find a new accent. Find a new accent. That New York accent, man, it's gotta go. It really, really has to go. I know I'm spending too much time talking about that New York accent, but it's a real thing. It's a real concern, man. It's a real concern. Anyway, a sultry voice without a New York accent. Some guys get attracted to girls physically after hearing what they sound like, or they get turned off. Like when they speak. Oh, the way you speak can have a powerful impact on others. Absolutely. A melodious and expressive voice can be incredibly alluring, or you could sound like you're a woman from New York. Practice speaking clearly, ladies. And good diction. Oh, please tell the women from New York. And let your voice reflect your confidence and charisma. No, no, no. New York women, remove the charisma from your voice. Speak clearly, use good diction, and remove the charisma. The charisma is the problem. Too much charisma, too much street, right? You sound like you spend too much time outside. No, man. No, man, go sit down on a comfortable chair. That's what you need to do. Playful charm. A sense of playfulness and lightheartedness can be irresistible or extremely irritating. You gotta choose your moments. It shows that you don't take yourself too seriously and can enjoy life to the fullest. Sometimes let go of the reins and have fun, especially when you're in the midst of fun loving people. Embrace your fun loving nature and let your vibrant energy shine through. You'll get back to being a classy goal oriented lady you've always been in a second. For now, have fun. This is a problem, right? Because you find people who, they go from one moment I want to be taken seriously, the next moment I want to be fun loving, and now I'm back to being taken seriously again. This can be a problem. It's endearing when you're young. When you're a young woman who doesn't really have much of a career, not many responsibilities, no man has bent the knee yet, and you're free and you're still playful and whatnot. Okay. But when you are in your 30s with kids and whatnot, that playfulness becomes a distraction and a problem. And really, people, they stop appreciating it, right? So there's a time limit for that. Yes, it can work, but only for a limited amount of time, right? We're not letting you do that all the way through to retirement. A mysterious aura, sure, sure. It's like you find her attractive until you get to know her, and then it's like nah. But I've had this myself where there's a counterpart and I barely know them and I think that they are attractive, and then I get to really know them, and then it's like no, I'm not really into it like that. It says sometimes what attracts a guy to a girl physically could be the fact that he can't quite figure her out. It's one thing when you don't know someone and you're curious about them. It's another thing when you do know them and you have figured them out and they act like you haven't figured them out. Then you're just, gonna get, it's just gonna be frustrating. It's really gonna be frustrating when you know your girl, like for instance, you know your girl likes seafood, right? But she keeps, demanding to go to like a steak restaurant. And then you take her to a steak restaurant and then she complains about the food and says she likes going to other types of restaurants. And it's like, yeah, I know that. But you're the one that wanted to come to a steak restaurant. And now that you're here, you're upset that they're selling steak. So it's not really that people are hard to figure out. It's just, they can be frustrating trying to make, decisions that aren't quite properly right. It's another thing to say, I'm curious about a place. I want to try it out. Let's see whether we like the food or not is one thing, but let's go for the experience. But then don't go there and then complain that, a steak restaurant doesn't have any seafood. That's just, no, that's not right. Leaving just enough to the imagination can be incredibly captivating. Just enough. Just enough. Put your clothes on, man. Just enough. Leaving just enough for the imagination. No, leave a lot to the imagination. It sparks curiosity and makes him want to know more about you. Cultivate an air of mystery by revealing aspects of yourselves gradually while allowing him to be intrigued by your layers. Think of this as climbing a flight of stairs. Reveal your layers naturally over time, allowing curiosity and connection to grow organically. If somebody has been intimate with you, your layers mean absolutely nothing. These layers and things are only there if somebody still wants to be intimate with you. Once they've seen you and you've been together and so forth, you can go ahead and put those layers away, man. You know, yeah, think of it like climbing a flight of stairs. Like you're gonna reveal yourself naturally over time. You've already been intimate. What more is there to reveal? The only thing that's there to reveal are your changing moods. But otherwise, once you've revealed yourself in this way, really not much more left to show. You know. So the mystery is in having is in not having been gotten in the first place. But once you've been had, you can't be unhad. You know. 11 is confidence. I don't know how women define confidence, what they would define as confident, right? So on the one hand, they're scared of spiders and insects, but on the other hand, they're very loud and obnoxious about themselves, right? So they believe, oh, I'm going to be CEO by 34. Of course, she's not going to be CEO by 34. She's not going to be CEO at all, in her life. So, like there's a confidence that these counterparts have. And I have to be honest with you, there's parts of me that wonder where they get this confidence from. Like, where do you get this confidence from? You know, I don't know. It reads, research highlights that confidence is often seen as an appealing quality in partners across diverse relationships. Confidence is an attractive quality that transcends physical appearance. This might be true. Believing in yourself and radiating self-assurance is undeniably appealing. Work on building your self-esteem, celebrating your strength, and embracing your imperfections. Confidence in a woman can sometimes come out as aggression. Confidence in a man can sometimes come out as aggression or being egotistical. Believing in yourself, believing in your product, and highlighting all the positives of that product and yourself and your ideals. Even when you compare them to others, it can appear aggressive and egotistical. So on the one hand, if you keep talking too much about your product, you might be appear or yourself, you might appear aggressive. But on the other hand, if you carry yourself with a certain air, in a certain way, you might seem egotistical. And either way, both, I suppose, are indications of confidence, right? But yeah, aggression and ego both may be seen very clearly as indication of confidence, right? So yes, ladies, you might want to be confident, but try not to be aggressive or egotistical, right? um I don't know how you're gonna pull this off. I don't know how you're gonna pull this off. Maybe give more compliments or whatnot. I don't know. Number 12, authenticity. Being your true self is one of the most attractive qualities you can possess as a woman. Absolutely not. There are men out there that find women quite annoying. Other than having the instinct for intimacy, the desire for intimacy, men like myself, we don't actually find you very insightful. We don't actually find you very interesting. We don't actually find you very funny. You're not very good listeners, and your opinions and contributions usually diminish the quality of any conversation or any idea, right? So whatever you're adding is probably going to be wrong, or create a tremendous amount of failure and debt. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just speaking out of my own experience. So I would not be myself if I was this type of person, right? So for instance, there are things within my personality, my characteristics that I know can be ineffective in terms of work. For those things, I will defer to the wisdom of others. So, for instance, as a younger man who did not have any strategy for life, any tactics for life, I followed the ways of Sun Tzu and the art of war, the grandmaster of the deceptive arts, until such time that I had enough of life experience of my own that I could make comparisons and find my own path and directions, even create my own philosophy, which is going to be a very short philosophy: freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. Freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. But beyond that, all the tricks and tools that I've used for success were not of my own. In fact, many of them went against my instincts. And I was surprised to see them succeed despite my own instinct. There were things that I was so sure were going to work out because my instinct was and my emotions told me, man, this is the move to make. And they failed so abysmally, right? And then there were things that I thought weren't going to work out because my instinct was against it, and they succeeded tremendously. You know, even the employment that I'm doing, this was not my first plan. This was my plan B. But I thought to myself, it would be better to have a tremendously good plan B, maybe one that was better than a plan A. But I also realized that embracing in this opportunity, I would have to forego many of my own inclinations. So I'd have to be more professional, more serious, more detailed oriented than what I would have otherwise would have become, and it was worth it. And it was worth it. In the end, I've achieved all of my goals. Well, not all, but many of my goals. But I'm still working on growing my savings. I've traveled, I've lived, I've experienced things, right? And all because I did not embrace my true self. I embraced the deceptive arts. I embraced the idea that everything is temporary, including me, including myself, including the personality that I had, including some of the personalities that I've had on this platform. With age and wisdom, they are going to change. One of those ways was trying to advocate for bachelors for life, trying to advocate that every man can live the bachelor life. When I saw the statistics that it was like 99.9% men would have kids by the time they're 60s, I realized that the bachelor philosophy had failed. And it failed because of practice. The philosophy was sound in mind, but in practice it failed. I had to evolve. And I evolved into a vasectomy, a philosophy that is a practice, not just a philosophy, not just an idea, you know. And understanding that means that you have to let go of that which you love. You have to sacrifice that which you love, which means including yourself and including some of the practices and the traits that you embraced from your past. When you embrace your uniqueness and quirks, you stand out from the crowd and you draw people towards you. You embrace your quirks, you are going to ruin your career. You come to work, we bring those quirks of yours, that nonsense that you picked up from the streets and from your unscrupulous family members and friends, and you bring that into a professional environment, you are going to get destroyed. You are going to get destroyed. You're going to cost yourself a tremendous amount of money. Right? So I would say when they say it's going to draw people towards you, it means it's going to draw the wrong type of attention towards you, which I do not recommend. In a world where everyone is trying to present a version of themselves that is different from who they truly are, never lose the charm that is your authenticity. The thing that I suggest to you as a practitioner of the deceptive arts is to let go of the idea of permanence. And one of the practices that you can do in letting go of the idea of permanence is look around your house, especially if you've moved to like a new house. Look at your devices, look at your computers, look at everything that you have, your clothes, and ask yourself how many of those things are 5 years old. How many of those things are 10 years old? How many of those things have you had throughout your life? And I will assure you that most of those things are a replacement of a replacement of a replacement of something else. So you have to grow up in order to grow in your career and in your life. You have to let go of childish ways. You cannot spend your life and your time embracing childish ways, fearing inconsequential things, appreciating useless nonsense, holding on to a personality and a characteristics that is indicative of a child and suitable for an adolescent, and doing all of that as an adult. It's embarrassing, it's out of the question, it's unnecessary, and it's going to cost you a lot of money and a lot of opportunities. The best you can do is look at the reality for what it is. I know for some people this is difficult because you spend so much time in the dark dimension, right? So the last time you had any freedom, you were a teenager or you were a young adult, you got some girl pregnant, you got married, and you were in the dark dimension. So, you haven't had the opportunity and the freedom to work through things, to have to go through one phase and let that phase go and embrace another phase and let that phase go and have another. You just went straight from young bachelor to husband for life. And you've had no changes between that bachelor and that husband. You know, that can leave a yearning in a lot of men, a craving to redo things and go back and go through all those phases. And I can understand that. But myself, as a fully grown, mature bachelor, I've been through every single stage thoroughly. Right, from traveling alone to, traveling in small groups to eventually deciding, what, I'm just going to do my own thing whenever I'm doing it, to traveling with counterparts, all kinds of things, right? And then you sort of get over all that. And then you come to a stage of maturity where you realize, what, even my personality as a young bachelor, as a bachelor in his middle ages, as the ancient one later on in life, as a vasectomite, all those things are a replacement of something else. You have to let go of those childish personalities and those traits. You have to take yourself seriously, right? You have to take yourself seriously so much that you have to put yourself above your childhood hero, right? So for instance, I am an advocate of Sun Tzu and the Art of War. I will always advocate for that book, but at some point I have to put my own philosophy above another man's philosophy, even my own mentor Sun Tzu. I will have to say freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy is the supreme strategy for men moving forward, and I'll have to stand by it. And I'll have to stand by it, right? Which means I will have to evolve past everything that I am now. Everything is temporary. Everything is replaceable and everything is meant to be replaced. Everything is meant to be replaced. If you are replacing things, you are doing the right thing. As a bachelor, you are doing the thing that you are meant to be doing. You are not meant to be stable and consistent. You're not meant to be driving the same car year after year for 15, 20 years. This is not the bachelor life. You are not meant to be living, like, even if you have like a sanctum of solitude, you're not meant to be living in that sanctum of solitude forever, man. You just have to have it as a landing spot from anywhere in the world. You could be all the way down in Buenos Aires in Argentina, and then one credit card payment, one plane ticket, one trip, and you're back on solid ground. Where you are safe, where you are secure, where you got everything that you need, and then you can plan the next assault and the next assault from an advantageous position. But you're not meant to be stuck there, man. This is not the bachelor life. This is not what we want for vasectomites. We want you to grow and evolve and be able to replace the things that you need to replace when the time comes. Let go of authenticity. Let go of authenticity and embrace true authenticity. True authenticity is change, is evolution. You know what I mean? There's no authenticity in being a 35-year-old man with 15-year-old boy values and 15-year-old boy ambitions. No. There's no point in being 45-year-old man with a 25-year-old man's ambitions. No. You had to be a 45-year-old man with 45-year-old man's ambitions. You should be out there trying to conquer the world, be president of the United States or wherever you come from. Not trying to, pick up a woman with nice hair. No, man. This is good advice for like young men who don't know any better, teenagers and whatnot. But there's a point where even all this has to go, man. You gotta let all this childishness go. Looking for a woman with these features and those features when all you're gonna get is a liability, debts, bills, all kinds of problems, alimony, child support. This is a guarantee, man. This is a guarantee. I'm not even trying to scare you. I'm telling you this is guaranteed in the dark dimension. So the best thing you can do for yourself is freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy. Yes, we all want a beautiful counterpart, and of course you have a beautiful counterpart. But you can get a vasectomy and get a beautiful counterpart, right? You can get a beautiful counterpart without a vasectomy and ruin your life. You can get one with a vasectomy and have a wonderful time. But this is the end of the video, and I'd like to thank you for your time, your attention, your patience, and for lending me your ear. I really, really appreciate it. If you have enjoyed this video and are enjoying this content, please like it. Apparently, it does make a difference to the algorithm and it spreads the videos out to more people. I hope that the video reaches the right kind of people. Men who are interested in getting a vasectomy, men who want to see clearly, to seeing that, look, what's better, getting a beautiful woman or getting a vasectomy? I would say getting a vasectomy is a much better, way to spend your time and your money than getting a beautiful woman. I would say when you compare the value of a vasectomy and the benefits of a value and the vasectomy, I think you will get much better results and much better value from a vasectomy than you will falling in love. Also, please share this video to people who you think will benefit from this information and benefit from this content, as well as you can leave a comment to any of the videos or any part or anything at all that you'd like to discuss, and I assure you I will respond as promptly as I can to every comment while I still can. We all hope there comes a point in time where you're getting so many comments that you just can't respond to all of them, right? That would be a tremendous, tremendous accomplishment for me. But right now, I'm really enjoying being able to be active in a real way, right? You can stay anonymous, I can stay anonymous, and what we could talk about is the perspective, and we can strategize and make moves, right? Without having to risk ourselves, our identities, and our livelihoods. This is the deceptive arts. You stay in the shadows, I stay in the shadows, and we just highlight the issues for ourselves. I am the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme. Again, I'd like to thank you for being with me today. Please remember to freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy. This is the philosophy of this platform, and I'd like to wish you a wonderful, wonderful day. Usually I'd say have a day without a counterpart, but if you're gonna have a day with a counterpart, at least I hope she's not obese. At least I hope she's hot. At least I hope she has at least some of the 13 characteristics that are seen here, including a decent head of hair and some nice teeth. But other than that, have yourself a nice day.